Hey everybody. Today on the show, I have the creator of 3 different games that are going to be released here in the next few months. And the unique thing about these games is they are considered print and play games. So if you have a printer or you want to move these games onto your iPad and you play with a standard deck of cards and you score out of that, and the games get progressively a little more intricate and a little bit more difficult, but they're a lot of fun to play. So if you're interested in something like that, stick around. That interview starts now. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hey, Mike, doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you have something that I'm not sure people have really heard about too much, but it is called a print and play game. And so you've developed this game, but you print the game at home by on your own, or you can take it to wherever you want to have it printed. And you play as part of your mechanic with an ordinary pack of playing cards. Is that correct?
Yeah, so print and play is the genre, but a lot of people actually just download them onto an iPad, or you
Mm.
can use virtual whiteboard tools. We like one called Miro that you can upload a PDF or a JPEG or whatever file type you like into it and do it virtually if you want to save paper. And sometimes people will print off many copies and go through them one at a time. We also recommend laminating or getting page protectors. One of my friends uses menu holders to then make a reusable sheet that you use dry erase markers on and wipe them off between them. So you're saving a few trees with that, hopefully.
Yeah,
But
right.
that is the gist
I
that you
yeah.
download the file and pick your medium of how you want to interface with it. Grab a deck of cards, shuffle up, pass them out. Sometimes set aside a few cards, but yeah, pretty quick setup from there, and you're good to go.
And I think it's incredibly creative. I love the aspect of it. It makes it available to anybody. As long as you can print something out, or if you want to move it to your iPad, you can do it that way. And if you've got a deck of standard playing cards, you're off to the races.
Yeah, you actually don't even need cards. If you have the internet, there's a website called deck.of.cards that just simulates a deck of playing cards for you. It has multiplayer rooms too that you can share the link and have other people log on their phones or whatever. So, yeah, we try to make it as accessible as possible from a components and logistics wise, and also with the rules too. They can all be taught in about 5 to 8 minutes and play about 30 to 40 so that hopefully they're accessible to as many people as possible.
That's wonderful. I love that aspect of it. It's something that I'm excited about because now we have another quick something that we can play. Because a lot of games get pretty big, and there's a lot of setup. There are a lot of pieces. There's lots of this, lots of that. This sounds like it is going to be relatively easy to set up as well. But the ultimate benefit or the ultimate headline here is there are 3 games included with your offering. Why don't you tell me about the 3 games that you have produced?
Yeah, there are 3 games that are all set in France in 1789 in different progressions of the revolution. That we start off a bit more calm and peaceful, and it gets helter skelter by the end of it. So the first one is called Chateau Gardens. I've got a example page here. This is a polyomino drawing game similar to like cartographers, or maybe you've done polyomino placing like My City or Blockus or even Tetris, that you, based on what you get from the cards, it tells you what shapes to draw in here. You're going to try to optimally arrange them to fit the most in there, combo things based off how they touch each other to get the most points. And even if press your luck that you're going to keep going as far as you can, fit the most in here. But you'll lose points for what you can't fit in, so you choose any point that you want to bow out from it. It plays about 30
Mhm.
to 45 minutes. Track your score at the bottom here. Whoever has most at the end wins. And it's a great way to get a variety of inputs. So you've got rules for the different suits, you've got rules for different face cards. Obviously, you've got many different values there. And so it's a wide range of input that people are familiar with. But you throw a few formulas on there to give them guidance and have a wide array of things that are going to end up on that grid for different people. So that's a really fun one. That was one of the first ones that
Mhm.
we nailed down the rules for. And so that one said, as things are still nice and pretty, when things start to devolve a little bit, we get volatile vintage. And this is working a vineyard in rural France that suffers the occasional mob attack as those peasants are getting ruly. And so this one is like, think of it as baby's first engine builder, that you've got four different tracks here that track your action economy, your defense against the attacks, special abilities called accords that you can unlock, and then your score being the output of wine barrels here. And so this plays in usually 25 to 30 minutes as you go through pairs of cards, choose options to build up or have to suffer attacks that try and tear down your vineyard as you go. And it's a great way to very quickly and hopefully easily maybe introduce someone to the concept of what an engine builder is. That, okay, as this gets bigger, your turn is going to get more successful. You have a few more things that go on with it. And hopefully, if you play this maybe with family and friends, maybe around the holidays, maybe get a little hook. Oh, hey, if you liked that, well, hey, maybe we try this other game, and now you got them.
Yeah, get him hooked and drag him right in.
Yes. And the third game, Noble Escape, I only have a like very early prototype with me right now. Our artist is still finishing up stuff for that. But the gist is that this one, things are completely going up in smoke. The rebels have broken in. You're trying to get everyone out. So this is not final, nowhere near final. But you're trying to put people into four carriages. You have varying abilities here, and your heaviest carriage is going to be the slowest and is going to get caught by the mob. And any nobles that are in there are going to get taken away for questioning. So you're trying to disguise where they're at, trying to make your heaviest one have the fewest noble folks in there, kind of like the Scarlet Pimpernel, if you ever read that book, maybe in high school or something. And that one usually plays in about 15, 20 minutes. And we've timed ourselves trying to go as fast as we can and make it urgent with it. It's a bit of a math number puzzle, but each different ability there is just a handful of words to explain. And fortunately, we've all got these things that have calculators on them. So we get a little bit of a lift from those. Usually recommend using help whenever math is involved. But those are the three games: Chateau Gardens, Volatile Vintage, and Noble Escape.
Well, that's wonderful. I love the idea for all of them, and I love the engine building mechanic or the beginner engine building mechanic, because I believe introducing those concepts really opens up game playing for folks who may not have been exposed to it before. So, and I love that it's in a very approachable format. So that way it's easy to just kind of whip out and say, hey, let's try this. And before you know it, people are playing Euro games, or, I did the various formats of games and learning mechanics that you're like, if you like this one, let me pull out my box of games and we can start looking at this too. But I love the idea of it. I love that it's printable and or not printable or just accessible. The form factor is accessible. So now, what inspired you to create these games? Is this something that's been on your mind for a while, or?
So I've been making games since I was a kid. My buddy Russ and I, when we were like 8, we took some of our Legos and made a roll and move where we like took apart the Legos and put them there, and you collect them and build them and unlocked Pokemon type attacks as you went and stuff. So
Wow.
making games has been just a part of my childhood, my teenage years. And as you get busy with adult, kind of set aside. And like many people during the pandemic, got into D&D with friends and family and really enjoyed being the dungeon master, crafting the adventure, and leading friends and family through it. And one really crystallizing moment that helped us, like, why do I like this, was when I had laser eye surgery. I had an allergic reaction to the pain meds.
Oh
So
no.
my eyes are burning up, and so then I asked, "Well, I need more pain meds." Of course, just makes it worse. So I'm spending like a whole long weekend just lying in the pitch black room with like a ice and towel over my eyes, and I'm just listening to Critical Role, to the podcast with the voice actors playing D&D. And there was one thing that came up during there that was like a 4-year long surprise reveal that their DM Matt pulled for his wife's character and for their friends, and it was super dramatic, and it was the kind of thing that like he had spent all that time building us to be creative, not just because of course he does, and not just
Mm-hmm.
for entertainment, for their business, but he thought like this is something that my wife and my friends will think is cool and special, and they will just get such a kick out of this, and this will be a special moment for them. And thinking about it crystallized for me, like, yeah, I want to make those special moments for my wife, for my family, for my friends, for all all sorts of people that maybe I've never even met before, and to help share that joy, especially in era and time when we're really overloaded with screens. Give options
Mm-hmm.
to do that away from screens, and I know that there's a lot of stuff that's already going on in the tabletop space that is fantastic, but when you look at the size of like movies, video games, a lot of other entertainment industries, tabletop has so much room to grow, and want to help be part of expanding that to more people, more families, getting away from screens. Not that they're evil, but giving more
Mm-hmm.
options for that, and helping to expand the hobby and the space and just the community in what ways that we can. So getting to these games, my buddy Chris, who's my business partner with our company Grazing Bear Games that we started, wasn't able to make it for this, but he's been designing games for ages as well, and we have big, complex, chunky euros that we've been working on for ages, and we started bringing them to other people as we started a playtest community here in our hometown of Huntsville, Alabama, and realizing like we are probably not at the skill level yet to really do justice these really big, meaty games. Though we would certainly love to keep working on those, and we have those in the background to help build up our skills. We pivoted to focusing on smaller, shorter, simpler games that we could playtest quickly and iterate quickly on,
Mm-hmm.
that we could, boil down what's the essence of why is this interesting or fun or why is it not, and really help refine our skills as we're listening to tons of podcasts, reading books, and educating
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, expanding our community, and our mentors and friends who are helping advise us. And so as we're shrinking it down, I forget what was the inspiration. A lot of print and play games use D6s, use standard dice.
Mm-hmm.
Often two is most common, but I've seen from just one to like 25 dice or something like that, depending on the game. So hey, let's do something different from everyone else. Let's do standard deck of cards. Let's just design games here, maybe not to ever do anything with, but just for us to build our skills. And so we came with tons of
Mm-hmm.
ideas, tossed a lot of them because they are often better in your head than they are on the table. And refined a good number of them and kept winnowing down to the best ones that we had, so we could keep learning those loops of iterative design, and then realized that would actually be really good products for our first game releases for us
Mm-hmm.
doing self-publishing, that with print and play, it is simpler logistically. We don't have to worry about manufacturing, shipping, freight,
Sure.
VAT tax, etc. But more importantly, if we mess this up, or let me say, when we mess something up, we're human, we know we're gonna make some mistakes. We can make it right without like going into debt or dipping
Right. Yeah.
deep
It's
into the
it's easier to correct
savings.
a print and play game than it is something you've already had printed and manufactured.
Yep. And so we want to make sure that our customers and our fans who play our games, that they're going to get the best that we can give them, that we continue to support it if there's ways to improve things. And we do have plans to release physical games in the future. Hopefully in
Mm-hmm.
2025, we'll be doing a Kickstarter campaign for our first one of those. But we want to start with what stuff that we know that we can do well, and boil it down to the essence of things, and leave it in a package that is accessible to other people to draw them in, and also a bit manageable, that we can make sure that we're delivering the best version to people and fully able to support it without like breaking open my 401k.
Sure. Sure. No. Right. Right. Well, now the games that you have right now, are they 1 to 4 player games, or how
They're
many players can
officially
play?
1 to 8 players. That's what
Oh,
we
wow.
recommend. You could go higher because they're simultaneous action, flipping right. Everyone takes a
Hmm.
turn. There is some player interaction with some of them in Chateau Gardens. Everyone's got one we call a suppléant card, that means substitute, that you can replace whatever card is drawn from the deck with one that you've got in your hand. And so just like
Hmm.
mathematically, if you've got one deck of cards, that limits how many folks you can have
Sure.
there.
Right. Right.
And then we set it at 8 to make a standard across all of
That's
them
great, though. I
and to make
mean,
that,
that's a party game right there.
yeah, it's a little more complex than most party games.
Oh,
But if
absolutely.
you wanted to have something a bit meatier that 8
Hmm.
people could enjoy, and because simultaneous action, there's very little downtime with it. That,
Hmm.
obviously one person might be faster at taking the turns than others, but they're waiting for like 25 seconds for the next person to
Hmm.
double check their math or, whatever for it, not
Right.
25 minutes for it to go all the way around the table, everyone
Sure.
counts their
Right.
cubes and etc.
Hmm. Absolutely. So now these fabulous games, how can people get a hold of them?
Yeah, so we have our pre-launch on Kickstarter now. You can just search for them by their names. That's Chateau Gardens, Volatile Vintage, and Noble Escape. That's the title of the campaign. You can also go to our website, grazingbeargames.com. That's grazing like a cow would graze, Grazing. And you can find the link from there also, or just search Grazing Bear Games on Facebook, Instagram. You'll find us on those things. We have surprisingly high SEO for a new company.
Well, there we go. Well, also I'll help out. I'll have all the links down below
Awesome.
for everything.
Perfect.
But I can't wait to play these games myself because they sound fantastic. I know that my friends will appreciate that, and I'm sure our viewers' friends will love them too. So if you guys are interested, I will have links down below where you can find all these amazing games, and then you can follow Grazing Bear Games for their next creations, which I'm sure will be fantastic. And I can't wait to see what else you create, Zach.
Thanks, Mike. We're really excited. We've loved the journey so far and excited to see where else it takes us.
Absolutely. Well, me too. But thank you for coming on, and let me know if you create anything new.
Thanks so much, Mike. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you in the loop.